Nidi can back and over at idea now can the lawyers know one actual to the Attorney General. On the same here a client or call for medical fairness review and check-up and for medical reasons or out of the jurisdiction. But money full support to the attorney. Since Sembiana Mupeso Yano, Obeyano. One man of the right to fair hearing under our constitution. We're exercising that right through the lawyers. Or say that it is a nipa name moved now. I feel the answer government authorities and OSP officer can. They are saying that they cannot proceed without even the person being there. So right from the word go, what the lawyers were saying is still consistent. Budgetary allocation, all finance committee. So and outside I leader of parliament. Hena more allocate here for
why are you so interested in the
video? Yeah, but now committee of parliament and yes, you show UTV. Okatakyie is hundreds of millions of cedis. About some fine to help grow our poultry industry and
the way
video no
the way a month for but as part of a initiative no
a creative jobs for domestic use. It's young for a sick and sponsor udina when you kokona na yesere na fa and na mebao is government providing free chicken for Ghanaians. Now, is that the policy of the government? The cloning Chinama na mo chama man for no no dey sick na man pan dey share nigwa. Why? No, Kenkina can you can a shady penny? What do you say? You're fancy, any private sicker. Where the mimic taxes are what the taxes are now the amount constituent. You say, beer, taxes, beer, and I won't be surprised some of your constituents or the video or simple a campaign time on 100,000 Ghana cedis. They bring a 500,000, which a Ghana career, DDEP, Namusade by we have say justification from Kokona area. I'm
Abusuya mamenchi ya orame mo akwa mfa wombra Randy J report so na ende same awuku enyina nim se ono na ye mrahye bedwane sisi ya de ma de hye ya omo Akuapem North abato mpehua so wa poye mantam Eastern region na na no pe oba bepie mu UTV woni NDC ni mpanimfo akukudam ya wono maboku mpanimfo mpo mu di kan mrahye bedwafie mu mpa anse no same ya okumpo wo babie ene abrante na kire se ampa MPP amonyokio womo ya minority oba mrahye bedwafie mu a womo na ye dom kuma de na nso eba adwenkire ene niema hodo bi mu a wono maboku pa ya womo eboa wono ho ansa na wono maba television so ene wama NDC ni guru in fact wasesa ne niema wo pie kura kire se ensem ahodo na asam ya wukodi ba TV no so no nye no ene ensem a ye be discuss na nso so ni nyina ye niema bi a ene awo Ghana fuani ya ekọ Ghana fuani ntia enam so ama ahokyere kakra ba oman ni mu na de di kan krampo ye nyina nim kan Ofori Atta ho sensem ye ba ya se yare ye binti wakopie mu a America abrochima mu akọwi akire wakwaje nkrata ho no a wote ho na nso so emra no emma na anase emra ne nsi ne kwan se yemmua na ten e wo Ghana ha emra mu no uni Ghana kora no yetimi bua ofo anase yetimi ebua obem e wo ha nti se ne lawyer for de nkrata ba se de ye papa ye wofa ye finance minister a okwaduyo odwane gyaye no ene waye krado sensem bia attorney general wofa ne ho no wo mbisa no na sika ben pa na se de Ghana ha ye betimi agina so aka se ken Ofori Atta wofa 1000 Ghana na wofa 1 billion wofa say o de ko share hin o de ko to hin ye ntimi ntu sika bia di na so ye sori bia se ken Ofori Atta ye mra na ye ntata no se de ne ye yire wo pan achi a na che se mra no ene wudi no sa ne bi na nko mo pen wo na so no lawyer for the krata akọ eno da nchi akọ nketenkete se sika pudu eri kokọ wura munye sika kuma o ene NDC amnyuko no made hye omunya akọ ne bi omo ne di twa omo ne spelele na samye oku kasa ya mapapai o sesa ne nkrata no wo pie ni che se ene ebu abon wo de fa ba bia na che se ebu abon wo ka bia ema NDC a enyeye o kire na se mu se de ya ensiaga na wo de me mame kasa ngwa bebere yenko je samye oku ebra okopie mu UTV na no pai na ken Ofori Atta ho sensem wa but the latest update wo de tudwa na afi so kokon ketenkete ne NDC aban ne mahodo bi a wo ye ne Ghana ha no mo a se ye temamufo mpo de ye nim hwewo ye de ye nim hwe kura enso so ende samya ukwa biebie ne mabie ne so ho beba emfa so se wonso benya adaje na watie bi wadaru ma mesele so be like me video enso ma me share for adwen chide so bra yina nkenkan bi na yentimi nhwe mu ade bi pa me da se
Nidi kan ba kan of rata dia na okan the lawyers na wa actual to the attorney general on the same here a client or call for medical fairness review and check up and for medical reasons we're out of the jurisdiction but man full support to the attorney since bia na mo pese o year no obe year no one man of the right to fair hearing under our constitution we exercise that right through the lawyers or say that it is a nipa na mu de gina ho afedi na san ya o he ne na government authorities and OSP officer can they are saying that they cannot proceed without even the person being there. So right from the word go, what the lawyers were saying is still consistent. Into what leader was trying to say is that nipa na no the right to exercise or no right under the constitution. And also catch us as our right no. May you the amount of lawyers so many money. And you don't need the person to be physically present before you can conduct the trial. You can conduct trial even in absentia. Now you might see the court will not be stopped from pronouncing its judgment. In law, you free to default judgment. Only one more you be pronouncing the judgment. And two, there's a presumption of innocence under our constitution until so we now to me quarter and not just we we've had several instances about we buy first almost over 2,000 cases under oral 2,000 honorable leader say no come on by the time they finish on one catch of parliament said they would have been able on in a black say $20 billion a daho she beat me every copy 18 months into zero more says can be. I listened to the attorney general. Listen to the deputy attorney general. They are not telling us any man now for or no more setting up, not the opposition. Or no more setting up, not a complete garbage. Any the braille. You heard Domilovo, the former auditor general, who was part of the oral team, saying that any PR in comfort the braille man that oral. You see, and that is what happens when they will end up in some of these instances. That notwithstanding, that's not the first topic. With the number same leader no they say Coco border they are okay. Me need fact of the case. Me can be a ye. But one thing on no meaning me na even though leader a friend of my committee or a leader in parliament, but a friend of a committee that I'm vice chairman of. You 178 state-owned enterprises. And SIGA reported to you. All these institutions of state, leader, Wadaroma, Afeni, Menu Nani shared the 2024 audited financial statement of several agencies. Yet me could share hotel for 4 hours. Me a pension.
I'm sure 13 years.
No problem. And because you're a friend of the committee. A friend of the committee means because of their expertise, almost two committee in so for near my leader subsequently. You have started the 2025 there. And all your mama breso. May auditor general they mean be film and cabin film or cabin shame. Or say 2024, you have said what we lost to corruption and corruption related practices under the SOEs, new agencies of state, around 2.5 billion for 2024. You are talking about double that under 2025. I'm not the one saying it's in the auditor general's report. Inti leader Hannah there. Me entry ye ho abot so Wadaroma mani sound to the share committee hono we dey say no wo se ne nam go apaso no they say the 2025 the momo nam de gu so nti e ba na se na ya utu ye for the committee level no ibu na me so detect na me dey a che say we dey e momo yi mama the public transport system ma to me bo asia kan story na me hu how miracles they fit into leader they or said many bia na no because me read a place biacho or see he cited the common practice where passengers traveling from Medina to University of Ghana were charged the full fare to cycle even though nipa no fi Medina akọ cycle obesi wo Legon but you know full fare na obi asat na seat na oteso no from Legon to circle. We know if I'm miracles, there are some miracles, money may be Anna, Yabosa. It's just being diabolic. And I'm Babette Ramkaze. If you get persuaded by Nekam, no, in Swashian Fenipa, in Sunu, to back on some labor course, on one clear system, ni more mammy, not wapiting, we are finding books, no coding. Sana leader or pretty. I want to deal with the substantive matter. It do Christmas, it do Easter, a nightmare for many of the terminals. And in fact, sometimes it do one more drivers now on their own. It's me to two first so during the festive season. It is because we don't have a regulated transport system. Send up university dons and whatever the analysis say, woman, they are right. I may disagree with 1 or 2 points, which I will tell you. Say, you know, we lost almost in excess of 4 billion, and we lost over the year. It means going forward, you know, their thinking is that say a bus lanes, bicycle lanes, truck near the day. It won't be easy.
It takes time.
It takes time because we are talking about a complete remodeling of the city. Streets at that moment anymore. Bus lane. And on a private cars, you know. Bus lane,
oh, it's true.
I alone na cover by, and I agree with leader. We are a nation with a voracious appetite for new things. Or just say a new thing be about in Hubishim. Yekotoba, yentimi and managing, ain't me maintaining. And this is something endemic in the Ghanaian fabric. And here you feel is the same. Or better at the end of or the coffee there for the first 2-3 months. Or maybe I can't touch it. Give yourself 6 months. Or mines will be quite funny. We don't have the maintenance culture. Sure. And I'm also looking at the amount that we spend and what we even lose due to lack of maintenance. Now saying I saw a video of the Baltimore Sports Complex. We spend taxpayers' money, but now maintaining is a problem. So back to this your transport matter. I honestly think professors now are right in almost all the analysis, because I believe Accra and many of our major cities, you know, the backbone of our transport system was not supposed to be trotro and taxi. Not a growing population at that time. So saying with the population expansion I want a 14-seater your friend is saying minivan. ABC one and you have about 50 people waiting. The number of times a bit me acquire. And then also it informs the driving culture of our drivers. Once a nipegu I saw demo coach should completely sometimes disregarding the traffic regulation. Because so you mugu no be febi. But even a regulated system because a bus terminal. I'm say a train station. Every 5 minutes it be back. Into rushes, how many see we can or train the next one. And that's what the professors are talking about. Almost they think the use of or say the system should be supported by digital route mapping. Where say an abe for the if you have say echo mile 7 when you say mile 7 in 10 minutes time obi do obey stop motor station obey another one ABA new plan. Then the last stop mile 7 into the digital route mapping then also spoke about how our electronic fare payment system mama so to be cost what to no sikasem either say we do obc eso je nsesa emae na ko kasa wrongly e ya say omo mutimi jojo nipa categories ni bi mate omo mutwa photo na gina say na nurse for me kan say me dey go mo ntia me wo panel dey gina say na trousers ni say and I feel lastly, omo cheduane wo yase. E come de o se den. Na o se me when you say e come de o se den. E come de o se den. Na obi yase. One manager bit me go en mas. When madam na minye go so tobo. Na peduane rebedu so. But mate for and many of these are people what a yinimukana obi piao e wo trotro nim no uko complaining ahe kwai na mo de ukons what your full faith that's what a half or two half so na to so ade ni
onu piao
piao. But at the heart of the matter that I'm even talking about is how Ghana can get out of the situation. And I'm happy to note say government are quite buses, but it's not the first time. And Honorable himself admit President Kufuor time Yekofa Metro Mass, thousands of buses in phases. You the maintenance culture no yentimi endi so. Nana do buy Yekofa more under intercity. In fact, one of the committees are leader Omushai, I think intercity also be one contact on how they fared. The buses that they also procured, in fact, it was started by my late minister, Nyama Donko.
Yeah.
Onuye, you know, a baby and an akumia, so time, ye to be under STC. But the maintenance culture after akumia, or during the time, and then afe ye be bueno. But all I'm talking about, the maintenance culture of SAP public transport system and the buses are here deba. We commit our state resources, and it was right. And your president behind who didn't a Japan taxes. But when we procure near the agencies of state, and to man these assets, you know, how almost to take care of it is another problem. But I think that the state as a body, maybe it's gotten to a time where we need to be clear in our minds. Say, for almost every year in our budget for maintenance of a near many be a year to I will go a long way. And yes, sir, you end up getting to a situation where you keep buying, you are not maintaining. So every year you are spending to buy new things and forgetting that the old ones can be maintained. Is it not strange that Oko Amanonia? It's because it's a bus way is being on the road for like 10 years, but it doesn't look it. Almost the Emma, 10 years, no, near the Abba, home use. But almost they kept it very well. If a change of oil, whatever, they don't lose sight of the fact that they need to keep it moving, because who keeping it moving and keeping it maintained, a job creation. Make no mistake, because you have your automobile industry that almost on their job is to service it to get paid. Then you are also going into another situation where the use of digital technology, and whether you like it or not. First, when Dr. Baumian spoke about it, people felt abstract. It has caught up with us. And here you two studio her. Apart from camera, you have multiple cameras capturing different moves and taken from different angles. And there are some what you are saying, by virtue of what you are saying, you are communicating with your people backstage. In transport system can no longer operate on drive an inside HR7. Bako, Airboom, Madina Circle. Some way, somehow, I say our transport system, and I think, let me be honest, I don't want to blame this government, and I won't blame the previous. But as a nation, we need to have that national discourse on how we want our transportation system to go. Because near everybody now, Okofa, a nation where you train a friend is saying lines. Teman Pakadan road, train, a route, no. Now, Ghana koto satri na okwabrane timi eko se oko obstructed train no. Se car no di kosi animal se den yo na aboyeka. A nation where we new overpass. Pokwasi interchange. Now your commission here the next will be the choba kosi adenase. There's something fundamentally wrong. Even in our quest to address this transportation problem, I don't think the solution lies in just procuring new buses, because just as they have said, it's in sharp contravention what the professors are saying. You procure the new buses, but they came to ply the same congestion route.
Then back to
so you're back to square one. Because baby, you load the Madina and a cycle. And why so na bus and so quite could load the Madina and a cycle. What's no more? The total drivers, because almost per quick turn and come back no. Obet me a FIFA route when you know they are could be a bus and so no won't mean cosa. And people will think the bus and match the so I also think that we need to look at then also the procurement of EV vehicles. The Kufuor government started procuring some, and I believe that the government of the day must also continue. The tap and go now, about me time, almost so launch here. That's the electronic payment system. Because look, and also can reduce the manpower hours. Because osisa no general baby no akwa si akwa and in na the invested on so you say accumulated over 4 billion in a year in terms of losses. And it is not idea happening in the rural communities. You are talking about the major cities. Talking about the Accra, the Kumasi, the Takoradi, to some extent Cape Coast and Tamale. Yes, these are the major places that you can. But Ofori baby to say Ofori, I don't have that major issue, even though it's a regional capital. You won't have that major issue in Sinyai, and then that of Ahafofono, only a Goso. You won't have those. But the major towns where the transportation system must work for me. And I say it's not just about procuring the buses. It's also about the remodeling of side lanes now. Yeah, can once.
Because it will take time.
It will definitely take time. And it will require huge investment.
Yes. You have to demolish
several structures
and compensation.
Yes. So 1 year no now you are only coming to add on to the chaos.
Okay. Now no go state we say simple moving forward and I be creative fund be a dedicated funder. But meaning say even a bar
I don't know what leader thinks. He's a finance person. I'm not a finance person.
But come and let's say for instance obi private person ebetimi ato bus or the beye juma with time the same one bus na no to become no multiply the profits will be nya it's the say be dedicated fund bi na to gumo no adenti na kakra na ya ye managing ye and out of that no ye betimi enye sika from already existing ones and na yetimi ede aye because ni na eba back to the management and how the maintenance no me go see wo dia sheni panensa ka say enya de say ye di bi ba be but de enye ya no yem ye na out of it no yentimi generating revenue na yem fan to be enkan what don't you think senke no so
that was the point I was making committee no ever as chair no for more KPI or some performance contracts what I say amount 100 bucks revenue no benya no just apply it back to buy more
buses.
But then the year the person is sacked.
And then a sack yes.
Leader has been consistent on this matter. No, on this matter. No, even at committee meeting. But my chairman of the committee has consistently pointed out to him that leader sack only sack no. Article 58, 59 of the Constitution invests the power of hiring and firing in the president. Yes. You can make recommendations, but in all fairness, the committee too has done a good job. Anyway, the committee is Committee on Public Administration and State Interest of Parliament. All the oversight responsibilities of over 178 state-owned enterprises are buying interest, including the central bank.
Okay.
And many of them, and a cut across the ministries.
Okay.
So even though no to the transport and energy Gapoa comes to us and let's say STC Intercity Eba Metro Mass but you have Across because Siga any Siga na yejuma but the performance contract and the president recently even said when meeting with KPI you're going to be fired. You are strengthening Siga because at the end of the day Siga must make the recommendation together with your committee, say at the end of the year, and SIGA so back before our committee every year to give an account on how the SOE is fed.
Okay.
It is SIGA the monitoring aspect, a strengthening, not a compromise. Some me pay wasem and I me pay wasem one.
Me pay wasem then makuyi.
Exactly.
Okay. Then it's a bit dicey.
No, it's dicey. Yeah, this across the
first. Not the name of the committee, the employment committee. Since 2013, and I'm a call committee. So every year you go to ILO meetings, Geneva, Switzerland. My cast has to me, when I meet them, I tell them because say a city will be example as a scapegoat.
people sit up. Okay.
Is a minister say be musu say Serisha for bar ebe come. It will be a unit. That's the point. So at the back of your mind, when you say what be
one of the government's biggest dinner, flagship dinner program in Nkoko no, where you do my sika. Emma Abain, any ministry. Madina Second for Miracles. You cannot be a Kwanya Coconaria. Minister to me catch her and say, or to one uncle for not sending a video. Say, Cocona, see a final poultry farm near Melton. You didn't have any more money. Dinner. Yeah, sponsor the most expensive dinner under this government.
I was for it also
what man go call na comment the unless one
look at them go na dinner
no because one go na no my diane nka ho
no minister to the head and catch say oh mo the video no omo we nkoko na yen ya fund say ye dia se odwa no or some the video no send ne say nkoko no munya aduane mo mu ni into minister ya 25 another batch ebra.
Well, no,
how are you going to account for it? How will this government account for Nkoko Nkiti in 2029?
Accountability bedroom.
Will be accounted for.
Yes.
How are you going to account for?
Okay, guys. No, you can't do it yourself. No, Baby. Or no, the Obeka Semrano, Diana Modi Juma.
I see. I was for to us. Oh no, where they say that would you? My son is said if you home. Dennis miracles are watching.
See, very interesting. Sometime in April, Iyoko fought to Monsafre Dennis Edward Abwaje, I find miracles. So a man or interministerial coordinating committee on decentralization. Omo wants and same big based on a petition from the new executive director also. Into Okoye in April. Okoye na ombusebusa and sem kakra. And omuka so ombesa tenenka.
Okay.
Obeti omonka bio. Wanti omonka after some days. So the lawyers no esa fair. So ye frebusa ombesa here your clients we na so debi. Mo ye hia no for now, but ye hia no a mo beti enka ye hia so I be catch mo. Na my aware me invite him.
Okay.
Fast forward. Wanti omonka biem. Then Nipano etu kwan a week ago. Of our true Kotoka Airport. It is Accra International Airport. Mame, wakona kwento. Stop list. You're the man when you are flying out. Make no mistake. You're stop from traveling. Because if you did this, maybe. Okono, or passing through Accra International Airport. Normal departure. Nipani bedu ya. Then immigration officials say, oh, Iyoko for catcher say, oh, that stop list in Tiniyencho. And I say, but stop list, you know, it's when that means you are running away from justice. And I say, it is being perceived, say you are evading justice. But Nipano Babedu ni krom ne die. Nipano, I cannot imagine how. Sebi in Prediasa. You are a popular face on our TV. You work with an organization we know. Inti mekasa we known quantity a yehwehwa yemre as a host. And obi animu wa address esa ha na oye adwuma. Inti se wo no tu kwan ne wetu kwan aba. Ne ebetu ne se wo tu kwan no. Na emu ye na kaka. We felt that it was an unnecessary show of power.
Maybe but also but we statements na pay Iyoko no almost say na within the week it was part of one process no say anka womo ebeche but wo mani bo mo so no e na wo ko no
nti meba so when you ba wo so na wo ko no omo lawyers you are in constant touch with them say o client na mo de ne ba ba first mo amadi a che say ye hia no a ye mfrem no it's not that you don't know them. Robert Smith Law Group. That's where Dennis, lawyers. for time call or call no, and that is the same firm I belong to. Ain't you know, yeah, lawyers say what firm on and then they call in April.
Okay.
Subsequently, they have reached out to Yoko. Yoko say yenyawa yebe frel ni catch your client. In the time when I'm watching no kana catch say week na a part of our processes no. You were definitely going to reach out or write to the person or ask of the person from them because if you have not invited me before, it's a different matter. In terms of what you show me na me. In the moche no pokra no no. And I say okay. In the assembly then also Yoko says here do to near the mom the Sunday. Now I'm the man the Sunday. And now the interrogation only started around 3 p.m. You call them from mid-morning. The lawyers and the honorable Atta also in addition. Echo and the lawyer guy in the Makumo call so from morning. You joining on mid-morning. You continue together with Secretary General and National Organizer and Penifoni Bikoka lawyers for no. Interrogation started around 3. Almost 7 or 8 p.m. It turns out, after we are okay, in some na no, Mujidi say meet a certain bail condition, and the bail conditioner also meet a total of 50 million. And you may, into the 48-hour, in your mind, already so. But the very condition I was set money panel, the person can meet it within that 48 hours now, not edu. Because the 48 hours now expired last night. So technically, you have to release him. But you see, our constitution is very clear. We call Article 14 of our constitution. Now, 14(2) of our constitution. A person who is arrested, restricted, or detained shall be informed immediately in a language that he understands of the reasons for his arrest, restriction, or detention, and of his right to a lawyer of his choice. May go back to the 14(3). A person who is arrested, restricted, or detained for the purpose of bringing him before a court in execution of an order of a court, or among other things, shall be brought before a court within 48 hours after the arrest, restriction, or detention. We are arresting the panel. This Article 14. The reason why maybe can be 3 different articles amount is because of a pending suit. The same law firm that I'm part of, Robert Smith Group, they are court in the so far court case versus Attorney General. For the court to now, we are inviting the Supreme Court and invoking the powers of the Supreme Court to interpret whether it's an agency of state or the right to set a bail condition. Because we call Article, I think 19 or so. Okay. So we call Article 19 of our Constitution. Or say, obi a what charging Libiano. A person shall be charged with a criminal offense if the offense is a high treason, or among other things, a high treasoner. The punishment for which is death. If the person must be tried by a jury or a judge, when you high treason. Among other things, or also shall under Article 19 of our Constitution say nipa no have a right to fair trial. It is a fair trial, no. And no be na say no catch say watch nipa no. Charges are the abono no. E hono a eye Yoko no. E hono nye court a obetime yi na no for him to say when you need freedom and otherwise. 2962 of our Constitution and Sana Masamba back to where you be.
The discretion, yes, the right for the discretion.
Okay. So 296 of our Constitution. Where in this Constitution or any other law discretionary power is vested in any person or authority, because what you discretionary powers, and just as leader is, it shouldn't be capricious. It says that discretionary power shall be deemed to imply duty to be fair and candid. So me and me exercise that power now. I have to be fair to you. I have to make sure say I am candid in the application. But here is much more interesting. The exercise of the discretionary power shall not be arbitrary. Just as he said, shall not be capricious or biased, either by resentment, dislike, personal dislike or prejudice, and shall be in accordance with due process of law. What we want to find out from the court, you say, you know, you have filed a memorandum of issues because you pay a true and proper interpretation, say, because court, you know, and the 296C, that's the reason why they call court for interpretation. Whether the person, because 296 now catch on the discretionary power. Now 296C of the Constitution, where the person or authority now no exercising the discretionary power, or so where the person or authority is not a judge or other judicial officer, because one of the powers of discretionary, where the person is not a judge or judicial officer, there shall be published by constitutional instrument or statutory instrument regulations that are not inconsistent with the provisions of the Constitution. Into even the exercise of discretionary power, sabi patapapio to krana emrao ewon. And then, you know, you can say there are miracles. 2029, if you be there and I'm or no sending video, the person has a right to fair trial. No baby or baby. Not because I dislike you. Not my kotna yoko or an institution where I'm exercising discretionary power. Miss me the many bua in me calculate to a major 300 million CDs or 400 million CDs worth of it. It is Sadia Copesa bill condition. This is not just a fight for today, it is a fight for posterity, because government is in continuum, and today you may think say adianon found, but tomorrow the same coercive machinery of state will still be in existence. I keep telling people, say police for no uniform color and society was like that under Papa J Rawlings, same under President Kufuor, same under Professor Mills, same under JM first term, same under Kufuor 2 terms, same under JM last term. So Intino, don't think say a nano and found, but let me be very honest and let me commend even the NDC themselves, some of the reasonable folks amongst them, some of the high-ranking officials behind closed door things say the way this discretionary powers is being exercised, and this time even under the Constitution and Article 296C, it's not being exercised by a judicial officer or a judge. No, a potential area where it can lead for system abuse. And now, as you said, I knew. I spoke to media before the interrogation of miracles. To me, I won't be surprised. You have bail condition because Kofa Ghana Airport. And I said, something equivalent. And check and did 30 minutes. Honorable Atta channel lawyers need fee interrogation. Say, bail condition, they are 50 million. Yes, see, a grant to bail. Sana do 50 million, no Kofa. And with 3 sureties, 2 to be justified. What it means is that the 2 sureties, with the combined landed properties, should be 50 million. 50 million. Anyway, Nipano, what did he say? Me, I don't want to go into the charges because everybody has right to fair trial. And no pay one time media na kasano so o mention say Gerard appear no. Iyoko statement on by Steve said ni nyina together. Embom because first Gerard appear no staff, not a staff for the Miracles as an accountant. There was an audit infraction. Mind the Auditor General then they flagged say there was this questionable payment that was made. Okay. It was around 540,000 cedis or so. Oh, okay. Yes. So 55 million. No. The one or see Gerard has started saying it is not the 55 million one. It's not a 55. I'm telling you. Because I spoke to Gerald's lawyers yesterday.
But per way saying they didn't
so that's what I'm saying. Say we need to be careful. Say unless the strategy of Yoko is to link SAR issue to that of Miracles. But the accountant, according to the lawyers, his lawyers, has said, say, in the interrogation room, he was clear and consistent that it has nothing to do with Miracles. However, that audit infraction that was flagged, was around 540,000, a little over 500,000. Then the gentleman was surcharged. Senna Auditor General, there are some payments you cannot account for because you'll be surcharged. Until the gentleman was asked to refund that money. And now what you this was before Yoko for on this petition matter. What you when Yoko came in, now aka 70,000. This is according to his lawyers. And I knew we did Hong Kong. So 70,000, which is what you are 70,000.
Okay.
So it cannot be
out of 100 and something,
out of 500 and something.
Oh, 500 and something.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
See this.
This is almost done.
Almost done. And the permanent institution a 3-month payment period to clear that 70,000.
Oh, okay.
So this is according to his lawyers. So they themselves were surprised. It is still being linked to the 55 million. Me, I'm not here to absolve Miracles of blame or to pronounce him guilty. It's the circumstances surrounding the arrest that the NPP feels that it looks contrived, it looks politically motivated, because Nipani a loud-mouthed critic of the government. And he has been consistent in his criticism. Interestingly, the day Miracles also traveled, I think he traveled on Saturday or Sunday. The Saturday, he was on Newsfire. Nipanam say he's a known quantity. He was on TV. The day before he traveled.
My producer Kombo was even confused. But Saturday, no.
He was on TV. And once again, he took on government on some of the issues. It be a Galamsey matters, it be a present term, and those matters.
Also, you think that maybe the way of criticizing government.
Look, government should not necessarily be comfortable with criticism. You should not. That's the beauty of democracy. In the chamber of parliament, you can have heated debate. Your own brother, you can criticize even his position on a matter. You shouldn't always be comfortable with criticisms from the opposition. But the opposition owes it as a sacred duty to also scrutinize the work of government. That is why you have an elected opposition. And yes, sir, you are going to have a totalitarian regime.
Okay.
Where Obi Entimin Kebi. So that's why your producer was even confused. The person was on TV. So this person no on TV. If they stop list Kotoneso, when the person's lawyers are in constant touch with Yoko. So it's just to one embarrass you, two to show you where power lies. But now me can say I'm worried for NDC appointees under President Mahama. They may have to dot every I and cross every T. Because just as your accountability today, there will have to be accountability tomorrow. Yes, they have to be worried. And I'm happy the appointees of NDC, the reasonable ones who reaches out, they are worried, including their party officials. Sir, I'm telling you. Who reach out? They are also worried because they know that it's a human institution. You may not always get it right. Just that you shouldn't deliberately get it wrong with procurement infractions, financial misappropriation.
No, whether deliberate and not saying you're deliberate, and I think you have to be accountable.
So you have to be accountable. I'm saying, you're them run a role. Okay. If I need to see you, I'm in touch with your producer. Very vivid explanation. I'm in touch with your producer. Now, me no Cortes Makwaka say, oh, say UTV for no domo chomo, or from Cromon for host no sebe umunipa. You'll be sad and upset because so when I'm from a minimum producer number, so I know where to get you. So it's the perfect picture I've painted. So today, the lawyers and together with friends, together with party, are looking at the best option on how we can secure the bail.
The bail.
But it doesn't mean So we are happy with the way these bail conditions are being set and posted. And that is why I am fortified in my belief. Said the Supreme Court, taking into consideration Article 14, Article 19, Article 296 of our Constitution, as we are inviting them to invoke their original jurisdiction and interpret these matters. Because one Rabeko CID is a security agency. They can set a bail condition that ufi hono near fell akoha near set another one. Someday you can have somebody, you know, I'm worried as well for the political class and political establishment. Madam, it may not be the intention of an elected president to receive from in just 30 seconds. It may not be the wish of an elected president to continue the cycle of retribution. But the supporters and the base of his party can push him to also send somebody or not so with another mindset that no and that is why we share the Article 296 of our Constitution or say in the exercise of that discretionary power, I shouldn't be capricious, I shouldn't be resentful, and it should not be based on personal dislike, but I should be candid in the application of this constitutional provision. In any case, if you are not a judge or judicial officer, say onye atemwani unyo be this nation sent by the court. So be exercise our discretionary power na minimum American otwi.
It's a work exercise obi feel pay
me feel pay na my amount. Nti me hwa wanim Gerald dey say no. By 10 days, it was 10 days ago. No, now the bail condition. Now the bail condition is 800,000. The lawyers call by and say 2-3 dollars. They say I signed they call 5 million. Hey, that was what they were doing yesterday. That is what yesterday they were fighting for. Yes.
Okay, minim se wunia pese na busa for we dey mesemo honorable mienu nyina omo beja ye hono makonti meje honorable die wie na se
honorable no hia onka bi se
onka bi se enti Dr. Beidu ababa kanti dog me so dey me so ma me omo wi na
anani dog be 101
honorable wunia ne kase nyina go sute but I mean so we share a Economic and Organized Crime Office Act 2010 Act 804 no.
Yes.
Honorable na woka me man mo kwan say obetimi ama but to some extent no omo a limit so omo bill na administrative bill a temporal enti se bibini so so ensa say timi eboro the constitution no so ayede ahye no enso so nti say enti ase bi so eni won man dey betimi akọ court so then the court no so enso be exhibit the discretion enti
for them to exercise that bill now okay we the 296 here was it published by constitutional instrument what there has to be a published constitutional instrument a back their powers to grant that bill.
Where you can now join us, you issue instrument.
They be saying no, they won't.
Allegation is allegation. We never no pay and listen to sermons from the mountain. But preach from
the Okatakyie mountain. Preaching to the Bia people.
Na na do mufra ba mu.
Bia so munti o, ana bia mbeti.
Amuti pa. Na na mufra ba mu. Ebe mama, energy e wenye sisi e o preach e a hard no pay. Asi usanda MPP yanchi obi a anko yoku. Ya investigate obi a and has a for be terms be that anto obi so.
And it say 50 million
e bi kwa bro de ye ke ho asemi
600 million 800 million e this year time no
you should nyina ne say yoku achi obi no say the bail condition is 50 million you can go to court and set it aside we wouldn't say we be your problem go kun we hu topa
the circumstances surrounding the arrest and I'm a catch as a leader. Send a minimum. Make sure we won't answer one. Me make a coach.
Stop listening.
No. Unless I don't know my.
Kefra to nyane.
Na only abemo.
Wa make am myself. No ma kwese sam rantie. Obi so bi ai hwan tina mo am say dey ni pakro.
Me say wara.
Eh.
no na
Baby na one of them was some to a petrol tete Genesis this be mo
when na kasa
na
propaganda dey no dey another speciality
no mo see we am 150 no journalist business na 150
journalist ben
o see we are say midri feed them in Sadaka ba ko put the pictures me search so din ketia miracles and another person pointing am was say no choose say din ketia
it's another media house na men ko check
o mo need dem tipo wo
na then I cannot bring my evidence
we have the video
of them mami hu
no video so
no me so ma
so ka sana meet you
because you realize that
some go phone me
when a UTV interview and a UTV video am ka zo mu ni mo aya che
but UTV en cast
it's NDC news
honorable
so members of parliament am from yeshema o menu former ministers of state some say a party ni ye invite no and as a chena bo na maka wo bo maka kwatresa veranda so mako sisa boys see some demonstration